I just live streamed a 12 hours competition, so I consider myself quite the expert in the current meta now. Hey folks, I want to welcome you back to the Sensupop channel. First up, I want to give a very big thank you for all those people who showed up in my very first live stream on Saturday. I kind of expected, hey, you know, I'll be happy with 20 people, but more than 100 of you showed up. You guys were simply amazing. You guys are really just the best. And for those people who were not there, you're dead to me now. The competition season 4 Dragon Ball Super card game has started. If you're sitting there wondering if you should join the competition and you're thinking like what type of cards you want to put in your deck to counter the current meta strategy, this is definitely the video for you. Sitting there and commentating for this sort of things for 12 hours kind of makes you pretty knowledgeable in the current meta. So see you after the short intro where I will be sharing my observations on the different strategies the players are deploying to counter the different meta decks. Hope you guys are excited. See you soon. Hey guys, I want to welcome you back from the intro. Before we go on to the rest of the video, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is yes, there is an incident of cheating. Yes, the punishment has been dealt and the player has accepted the punishment, and yep, that's it. I wish as the EU community, especially if you're from the EU, that we will move on from this incident. The EU community is small, let's not fracture it as much as by introducing toxicity and stuff like that into the community. However, that said too, I would like to acknowledge that some of you might felt that the punishment is not severe enough. I see where you're coming from, and if you want to talk to somebody about this, you can write to me, alright? But just there is a time and place to do all these things, and I hope that, you know, we don't lash out on all the other posts that people are making to make it an agenda on this, alright? But if you want to talk to somebody, feel free, write me on the Instagram to air your grievances out right down below. Alright, so thank you so much for listening. Okay, so let's go on to the main video. So when it comes to the meta, there's different, I kind of break it down to two major stuff, which is the big heaters and those that goes wide and heat you. A lot of this meta that we're dealing with is aggression. You might think that Shin Shenrong, it's not aggression, it is actually kind of aggressive. Some of the builds that I've seen from the deck list and how the people are playing, yes, even Shin Shenrong has become aggressive. You said that, hey, Sensupop, how is this possible? Let me tell you, it's pretty much possible, alright? So let us talk about the different ways that you can deal with all this aggression. Whether does it come from big heater or does it goes wide and swing multiple times, I have you covered. So for the big heaters like Dark Broly and Broly, the Awakened Demon, one of the ways that you can do is definitely the big Amore. If activate main, if your leader card is green, your opponent cannot attack with battle card with energy 5 or more until the start of your main phase. That means you take away every single option of Dark Broly. Dark Broly can only swing with their leader for the rest of the turn. It's just simply amazing, such a good card. But the problem with this card, it is locked behind a green leaders, and it is too green. So if you're playing multiple color decks, this is definitely not an option for you. But if you're playing pure green like Thelos, this is a very good option for you. You please include it in the side deck, not a option for main deck. Don't do this, but a side deck option is definitely good for this. Another ways to take care of it, if you're playing red, is Violent Ray. So if your leader card is red, negate the attack, then you choose one card, discard it. It's a little bit like Topo, but if your opponent cannot attack with battle cards 20k power or more. The difference between this and Topo is this is very specific, because if your opponent is swinging with you are down with 1 energy, together with Topo, this kind of shuts down a lot of aggression. And 20k or more, it's a lot in a lot of other people's deck. And what's good about this is that it kind of provides you with a negate. So if your opponent makes the blunder of swing with their leader first, and his deck is something like Dark Broly or like Red Broly, you just negate it. He's gonna have a lot of trouble dealing with it, because now his battle card cannot swing anymore. But seriously, out of all these things, What about if you're playing yellow? Blue has a lot of options, so I'm not going to talk about blue. Blue has the TP trunks and stuff like that, but one of the card that really stands out to me throughout the whole competition to deal with big heaters, it is Vegeta Unison of Fury. So if you're playing yellow, you are in luck. This is a super underrated card. I totally love this card. I saw how it has been used in the tournament. I love this. So Vegeta Unison of Fury, what does it do? It's activate main. How it gains its ability is this, right? It's one marker. If you tap him, or you tap any one of your battle cards, switch it to rest mode, you add a marker. You don't have it, you don't even need it to be yellow though, so you can just switch any of your yellow card. Imagine you're using against Xin Shenrong, in the end that card is going to stand back anyway, so it is kind of free. So if you're playing Xin Shenrong, you can tap one of your cards, it comes back, or if you're playing Frieza, you can tap Mecha Frieza, you're going to tap one of your cards, it is going to come back, so it's a very good card. And -1 activate main, your opponent cannot attack with battle card with energy cost greater than their current energy until the end of the turn. If you are not talking about Thirdos, it's basically all the other decks. Mecha Frieza, Dark Broly, Broly BR, excuse me, they counterattack. So all you have to do is just -1, -1, -1, -1. The good thing about this is that it is a Unison's ability. That means this is definitely very difficult to remove from the board. There's no counter against this thing. So you put down 1, tap 1, now it goes to 3 marker, do a -1, and your opponent cannot attack with 20k. It just buys you a turn against a lot of decks. So if you're playing yellow, this is my Unison that I would say that main deck this option. Violent Ray, main deck. Vegeta Unison of Fury, main deck. Big Amore, side deck. Alright, so let's talk about Weenie's strategy, which is like against Thirdos, like Finish Force, where you know everybody just goes wide, or any decks that goes like pretty wide. Against all this wide strategy where they swing with you with like a heater battle cards that it's very small, like Big Amore Unison, the Vegeta Unison, you know, all these things are not going to work anymore. So what do? One of the best ways is just to do a bot removal, because they're so small anyways. Please include Secret Identity Marseille, and I would say that this would almost be a main deck option over round 6. That means you don't even have to pay for anything at all. When this card is played using Overwhelm, choose any number of your opponent's card that adds up their energy to 6 and send them to your opponent's warp. So if your opponent has a lot of 2 drops, 1 drop, 2 drops, 1 drop, 3 drops, this is what you do. Slap him down, 0 energy, you have a 25k swing. If you have Champa, this thing goes up to 35k double strike for 0 energy. This gives you the aggression that you need, at the same time controlling the board. I've seen this card so many times just turn the whole strategy around. Would I say that this is a main board or sideboard option? I don't know. It really depends on your strategy, but if you are thinking that you're going to see a lot of Thirdos, please main bot this guy. Alright, another one, it's definitely a thing that kind of stops all aggression, but it is also a very expensive card. I can understand if you don't have it, but this card really did a number of work in the whole meta. The thing about this is that it is much more of a defensive strategy, but I've seen people using that 40k beat stick just to swing. It is also really good. So you can activate battle when you have 3 or more energy. When you play this card from your hands, your opponent cannot attack with their leader card, Unison card for the turn. But if you're dealing against very big heater, this is still kind of be a problem, because your opponent still can continuously swing with their big heater. This does not negate the attack. So kind of, you know, you need to know when to play. When people swing with their battle card and you see their Unison card and their leader card is still not swing yet, that is the best time. Tap it, put it down the next turn. If you feel that you can do it, swing with it, tap 1 and just remove anything on the board. Unison card, especially, I've seen one time there was a Unison card with 7 like a 7 marker on it, and it is just gone. Simply one of the very powerful defensive option right there. And of course, we do have another Vegeta card, which is really good at against like a white strategy, double strike critical. Choose one card from your hand, discard it. When this card is played, choose all of your opponent's battle card, ignoring barrier, and KO them. The good part about this is that due to the prevalence of Magicabura right now, this card cannot be affected by Magicabura. So your opponent cannot name anything. So when your opponent names like secret identity and stuff like that, just to prevent you from playing the battle card, to remove the board, you can tap your 4 energy. If you're playing green, play Vegeta Resolute, Agent of Destruction, kill all of their board, tap +1, it gets 25k, double strike, critical, swing for it. It is a good defensive and offensive option. Definitely the card to play. I really recommend this. Alright, so the next one is we are going to be talking about the MVP of this card. This card, you really have to main deck it. Now, this is my, I spoke to quite a couple of people, and they said that this is the card. They all agree that this is the card to be main deck. It is Magicabura, the Broken Seal. So if you don't know what is this is a 2 cost 15k. That means you can swing with this card. That is so good. So it is 15k. If you don't want to swing with this card it's also 0 plus 5k. And it is not a -1 in your hand, because activate main once per turn. When this card is on the board, you get to add 1 Dark Dragon Ball deck from card from your deck to your hand. Then you shuffle your deck. If you're playing Dark Broly, please main deck this. If you're playing Turtles, please main deck this. If you're playing like a Slug, main deck this. I don't know why you're playing Slug, but if you're playing Slug, main deck this. So you're just taking all these cards into your hands just like that. Every single once per turn, not that when he's played, once per turn. This is just simply amazing. And he has deflect, but it is his auto ability that is really good. So when this card is played, declare an original energy cost character name until the end of your opponent's next turn. Your opponent cannot play that card. So you can say that, hey, Dark Broly 6. They cannot play Dark Broly 6 anymore. So any of those Dark Broly, they don't have that option. They can play Demigra Unison, Demigra, yes they can, but if you're playing green, you can use Charismatic Villain just to pop it. So, you know, you really just limit their option. The bad part about this guy is you cannot just do it again and again, because the next turn you cannot play this card, so you kind of leave 1 turn for your opponent, so you cannot kind of technically lock your opponent down. However, he has so much usage. One of the ones that we mentioned already is Dark Broly 6, but what about all this option? So if you're playing against, for example, Mecha Frieza, they love to combo in Bergamo, they love to combo in Grade 8 Bardock, that in 1 turn that you can see the whole board just floods with all this card. What you can do here is you play Magicabura for 2 energy. If you're playing Turtles, grab that 1 Dark Dragon Ball into your hands. Now you have an additional card in your hands that is a 5k combo at its worst. So, and then you can name and say Bergamo Ferocious Raw, and your opponent cannot use his defensive turn just to play it, just to tap your energy down. That option is not available anymore. Take it up a notch. And if you're playing against green, you know what's very irritating when you play green? Or their counter plays their counter attack option, dominant potential, charismatic villain. So why don't you play Magicabura? Just name charismatic villain. You cannot play that card anymore. So now all your card on the board, they are safe from their counterplay. So with 2 energy, you kind of make sure that your play goes, it's a very good investment in my opinion. So with that 2 energy, you just manage to take the game back into your hands. You dictate the pace, you dictate how it is being played, and you just control your opponent right there. Definitely the MVP. I don't see why that any deck doesn't main deck this guy from now on, especially against the current meta. Alright, so this is the end of the analysis. I hope it kind of helps you to decide what cards to put in your side deck, what card to main deck it, and yep, some of this stuff. And again, if you're playing yellow, the Vegeta Unison card, this is please do it. It's such a good card. That -1, your opponent cannot attack. Literally, your opponent can only attack with their Unison card. Their leader card, they might as well just say that in their deck. So if against Dark Broly, against Broly BR, against most of the deck right now. Even if someone slapped in that Cell Xeno without remembering that effect is on, they cannot attack with Cell Xeno. It is not a counterplay, so deflag anything, it just doesn't matter. They cannot do it. So good. And Magic Abura, just if you know how to play this, and you don't even need to strategically do it. You know, when you're playing against Magic Abura, Mecha Frieza named Bergamo. If you're playing against Green, name Frieza Charismatic Villain. And if you're playing some of the decks that have Dark Dragon Ball, every single turn, it's a draw 1 to your hands. Alright. Thank you guys so much for listening, and once again, I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope this video has been helpful to you. See you guys after short, not see you guys after short video. Stay safe, and see you guys in the next video. Alright, ciao, bye.